Woman from Texas, Ms. Garcia, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the Secretary for being with us today. I want to start first by just clarifying your testimony and its delivery. Why did you ask for your witness statement to be embargoed until this morning?
Pardon me?
Your testimony reads right at the very top, embargoed until delivery, which means that we didn't follow the usual practice of this committee of getting the testimony 24 hours in advance so that committee members can review it and prepare for questions. Yours was posted at 10:01. The committee was 10. Well, it looks like you need...
My staff is just telling me that it's standard practice.
It's your standard practice? It's not our standard practice.
You won't believe the heated exchange that happened in this meeting. It started off calm, but quickly turned into a serious reality check. Let's break it down step by step.
As a committee.
I'm told that it was standard practice.
Okay, you were told by whom, sir?
So my comms team and legislative affairs team working with the committee.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think for the record, I think you should clarify to the gentleman that that is not our standard. And I know that at least I didn't know anything about this until I got it here. And I don't think our committee staff on the Democratic side was notified that we would be getting all your testimony late. I just wondered, why you had made that request, and clearly at the top, embargoed until delivery.
Well, embargoed to delivery, I think that was mostly meant for the press.
We're not press, sir. We're the members of Congress that have oversight. So, Mr. Chairman, I would hope that you not condone this kind of late submission. It just doesn't help. Frankly, for some of the atmosphere that's created when we all just sit down and we still don't have your testimony, well then, we just sort of don't feel really good about that. It's not our kind of...
Congresswoman, I appreciate the importance that you put on my statement.
Well, thank you. Notice it's important, sir. Do you know what the poverty rate is in our country?
I believe that the poverty level is a fixed number.
No, do you know the poverty rate in this country?
I believe it is in the teens.
In the teens. Okay, well, it's about a little over 11%. It just strikes me that most of all of your testimony is always about the tax cuts and cutting costs, and it's always about tax cuts, and it's always about the rich.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and stick around for more simple and dramatic retellings of big political and celebrity moments.
But nothing is ever said about poor, other than you suggesting that you worked yourself
no,
college.
No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime.
Sir, I read your testimony. That's not anywhere in here.
Deductibility.
That is not in here, sir.
Deductibility.
I am referring to your testimony and what I've listened to. I said right up front, I can see you and I can hear you. You've not said one thing about what we're doing to help the poor. In fact, even when we were talking about the car seats, that impacts poor people more than anyone else, because not only can they usually not even afford a car seat and have to go to a garage sale to find one, now it's going to be even higher. Your president is suggesting that he wants to give a $5,000 bonus to women to have babies, and then what? Just leave them out on the cold alone? No car seat, no food, no Medicaid, no chip program.
I can tell you
and I'm asking you right now, sir,
the worst thing for working families will be the inflation of the 2000.
Secretary of Treasury, it's not just about the inflation rate. It's not just about the GDP. It's also about making sure that we keep the poverty rate in this country low. There are people who are living in poverty that never have lived in poverty before. You also fail to say here, you say unemployment remains low. I mean, the study should have read unemployment went up. Because it did.
Under the Biden administration.
And the growth administration. We're not talking about Biden, sir. We're talking about your testimony here today about the current president and his plans. Because I can tell you, I'm from Houston. I'm concerned, too, about some of the tariffs on energy. We have done a lot to increase trade in Houston, construction, everything after the pandemic. And all things were growing. Everything has been growing. Now that the Trump tariffs have surfaced, it is threatening Houston's economy. I represent the area where almost the entire ship channel is in. The petrochemical companies are in my district. The port is in my district. Everybody is trying to figure out
Gentlewoman's
what the
time
hell
has
we're going to
expired.
do.
Mr. Chairman,
Ranking member.
I ask unanimous consent to enter.
All right, so picture this. A woman from Texas, Miss Garcia, gets her turn to speak for 5 minutes. She starts off politely. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And thank you to the Secretary for being with us today. But right after that sweet intro, she gets straight to the point. She says, I just want to clear something up about your testimony and how you gave it. Why did you ask for your witness statement to be kept secret until this morning? The Secretary looks a little unsure and says, Sorry, ma'am. Excuse me. Garcia points out, right at the top of your statement, it says embargoed until delivery. That means we didn't get your statement 24 hours before the meeting, which is what this committee usually does. We get it early so we can read it and prepare our questions. But yours was posted at 10:01, and this committee started at 10. That's not the usual way. The Secretary tries to explain, well, my staff is telling me it's standard practice. Garcia jumps in, it's your standard practice. It's not our committee's standard practice. The Secretary repeats, I was told it was standard practice. Garcia leans in, who told you that, sir? He answers, my communications team and legislative affairs team working with the committee. Garcia looks at the chairman and says, Mr. Chairman, for the record, can you please make it clear to this gentleman that this is not our standard? I didn't know anything about this until I got it right here. And our Democratic committee staff wasn't told that your testimony would come in late. She keeps going. I just wondered why you made that request. It clearly says embargoed until delivery at the top. The Secretary says, well, the embargo was mostly meant for the press. Garcia snaps back. We're not the press. We're members of Congress. We do the oversight. Mr. Chairman, I really hope you don't allow this kind of late submission again. It doesn't help. Honestly, it creates a bad atmosphere when we all sit down here and still don't have your testimony. It just doesn't feel right. It's not how we usually do things. The Secretary nods. Congresswoman, I understand how important my statement is to you. She replies, yes, it is important, sir. Do you know what the poverty rate is in our country? He hesitates. I believe the poverty level is a fixed number. She presses, no. Do you know the poverty rate in this country? He guesses, I believe it is in the teens. She corrects him, nope. It's a little over 11%. Then she goes in even harder. Your testimony is always about tax cuts, cutting costs, and helping the rich. You never say anything about poor people, except acting like they just need to work harder. He quickly responds, no, ma'am. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. She shakes her head. I read your testimony. That's not in here. There's nothing about deductibility in here either. I'm talking about what I heard you say and what's written down. I said it right up front. I can see you and hear you. And you didn't say a single thing about what you're doing to help the poor. She brings up an example, even when we talked about car seats, that hits poor people the hardest. They can't even afford a new car seat. They usually have to go to garage sales to find one. And now prices will go up even more. Your president wants to give women a $5,000 bonus to have babies. And then what? Leave them out in the cold? No car seat, no food, no Medicaid. He tries to reply, no, Congresswoman, I can tell you the worst. She cuts in, I'm asking you right now, sir. The worst thing for working families will be the expiration of the 2000. She raises her voice a bit, Secretary Treasury. It's not just about the inflation rate. It's not just about the GDP. It's also about keeping the poverty rate low. There are people living in poverty now who never lived in poverty before. She waives his testimony. And you didn't even say here that unemployment went up. You said unemployment remains low. That's not true, it went up. He tries to bring up the Biden administration. Ma'am, under the Biden administration, the growth. She stops him. We're not talking about Biden. We're talking about your testimony today, about the current president and his plans. Because I can tell you, I'm from Houston. I'm worried about terrorism on energy. She continues, we've worked so hard to increase trade in Houston. Construction, everything grew after the pandemic. Everything was going up. But now, the Trump tariffs have popped up and they're threatening Houston's economy. She explains why this matters so much. I represent the area with almost the entire ship channel. All the petrochemical companies are in my district. The port is in my district. And right now, everybody is trying to figure out what we're going to do. She ends by looking at the chairman and the ranking member, leaving her strong message hanging in the air.